Welcome to the Coach Toolbox. I'm your host, Dr. Ajay Nangalia, a leadership coach and counselor. This channel supports your professional and personal development as a leader with research-based and practice-focused learning. And we bring you the best career and life advice from guests who've been there and done that successfully. And now, our session today. Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode, which focuses on preparing for the appraisal interview. Now, the appraisal interview causes stress for all of us, whether we have to attend our own appraisal interview or we have to conduct an appraisal interview for one of our team members. Whatever side of the table we are on, chances are that the appraisal process creates some amount of stress for all of us. And to help us understand this stress and to help us understand how we can best deal with the stress and make it a positive, productive experience, we have today to share thoughts and wisdom with us. We have Balaji Aravamuthan with us. Balaji has done a previous episode on preparing for the CIO suite for IT managers, how they can reach the CIO suite. So I encourage you to listen to that episode. It's there in our channel. But Balaji, for those of you who have not heard him speak as yet, he's a global CIO with over 25 years plus experience across industries, across different aspects of information technology. He has held CIO and senior IT leadership roles in manufacturing, pharma, petrochemicals, agrochemicals, and so on. I'll put a link to his LinkedIn profile in the podcast description, and he's also kind enough to give his email ID so you can connect with him if you would like any further input from Balaji. So Balaji, welcome.
Thank you, Ajay, for providing this opportunity. I want to admit that I'm novice in HR and I have many HR professional friends like you. And I would like to dedicate this to them because this is an HR topic. Besides, there is a famous saying that all managers are HR managers. Okay, I would like to seize this opportunity to speak on this topic. And over to you, Ajay, whatever best that I can, please.
Thank you. And one of the reasons I'm excited to have you on the show is your last interview on how a professional can prepare for and reach the CXO suite. While it was targeted for IT managers, the information and the content there is absolute gold. And I insist for all my executive coaching clients that they must listen to that episode so that they get a blueprint for their own growth. So
thank you so
in
much.
my work as an executive coach, I find that both the manager who is going to conduct the appraisal and the direct report who is going to experience it, both sides of the table find the process a little stressful.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's happening perhaps at an organization level that causes this stress.
Yeah, every organization should be mindful of its cost, right? And employee costs are typically significant cost in the overall cost. Technically speaking, performance appraisal has a bigger purpose beyond compensation. But most of the time, it is correlated with paycheck and hence the stress. Okay. An organization is the collective representation of all individual performance. And if the individual and every individual, if they claim that they have done an excellent job, and I'm sure it should correlate with the collective organization performance, but in reality, it seldom happens, right? Also, there are other parameters like overall cost of operation, industry comparison, external benchmarking of position on their current compensation, etc., are typically taken into consideration to decide on compensations, right? When we mix performance appraisal, which is an individual oriented, and compensation management, which is an organizational and external oriented, such stress happens, right? And that's the broader reason why, according to me, this stress is happening at the organization level. The sigma should happen, but it does not happen that way. And that's the reason. That's what I could see that. Yeah.
So true. You have hit the nail on the head as usual with the fact that it's stressful because it's correlated to our paycheck. And yet at the same time, it's not directly linked just to performance. There are so many other broader factors at play. So at a human level, you've spoken a little bit about the organization level. At a human level, what happens to cause so much stress?
Yeah. So if we understand at the human level, if you understand well the cause and effect, appraisals are the period to declare the effect, right, and analyze the probable cause to take corrective actions wherever it is required. To make it more constructive, goals and measurement should be clearly defined. If that is not defined properly, and if we do not give adequate attention at that time of goal preparation, and discuss the cause and effect is purely based on opinions at both the ends, both manager as well as direct reports, it typically leads to emotional drama. This is how that individually at the human level it happens. I'm the firm believer of yoga. In the yogic language, if both of them are not accepting the current situation, right, and live in the denial mode, such stress happens, right? So they always say that, so what? If you getting into that, then probably you will get what next, right? And that's the yogic way of answering that. And if you accept the situation, mind you, even if it is inadequate, communication may also be a poor opinion, right? So at psychological level, they are prepared to take up the challenge that that stress as a challenge, and which will be more constructive, right? That's what I could see that. But I have come across in my case, there are a lot of people who typically undergo this as a stressful discussion rather than the constructive discussion. And I believe at the human level, this is what is happening psychologically. Yeah.
So true. And perhaps the starting point every time is the fact that the goals, measurements have not been clearly defined. And then when it comes to the appraisal process, it becomes opinion based and then
Right.
personality based and power based,
That's
perhaps,
right.
and not really in terms of the metrics.
Yeah.
So over these so many years that you've been an organizational leader, Balaji, tell us some examples where you have seen appraisal interviews really causing difficulty and stress. Give us a few examples from your experience.
Yeah, can give 3 to 4. Appraisal, does not happen face to face, right? They don't meet each other eye to eye, right? We all understand the current situation of COVID, right? But even in this situation, I would recommend video call, not without video call. I think it should happen, right? Both boss and subordinate do not prepare well for the meeting, right? And typically emotions are getting drained in the templates, right? That's the biggest problem. Many of the appraisal discussions are opinion based, as I said before, without adequate data to demonstrate, right? And when they start saying that, you are not doing this, you are not doing that without any, data, then probably it adds, lot of stress. And what in general I've seen is empathy factor is missing, right, in the conversations, right? If boss can step into the shoes of subordinate and then try to understand him better, and then subordinate can also step into the shoes of boss, why he is saying what he is saying, then that will help the appraisal much more constructive. But these are all some of the things which I see when I observe why appraisals are stressful. Yeah.
So true. And I've also seen that when there is no good connection between the two parties,
Yeah.
it the downsides or the challenges of that relationship just get amplified during the appraisal process. So
Absolutely, so
if
true.
there is a personality clash, or if they have really not had a good human or professional interaction, this becomes so much more difficult.
Yeah.
So as a manager, what are some best practices that leaders and managers can follow to make, from the manager's point of view, this a better experience?
I'll give you my top 3 takes here. For managers, I would say that spend more time in set unambiguous, measurable goal in the year beginning. Right? I use the word unambiguous. I also use the word measurable. Right? That will bring more clarity in the discussions. Right? Managers should be comfortable situation so that the dialogue is possible. It's the responsibility of manager when someone is having the conversation. For example, there is nothing wrong if manager helps making some tea for his reports, general inquiries, right? Few personal happy questions. Those type of things will set the context here and have a constructive conversation. It is not, we are not discussing each other as a robots, right? So we need to be clear when we are really talking. And then third one is he or she should be an active listener, right? Remember, you might be missing some aspects of the ground reality, right? Yes, the output is not happening. Yes, you should communicate. But what is more important is why they are not in a position to do that, right? And if you are not understanding that ground level and not helping them to overcome that, it can only be, jargons communicating each other, yeah, which we should avoid. I thought these are all some 3 good practices a manager should have. Yeah.
So true. I've had people tell me earlier on that the only time they met their manager across 6-month period was during the appraisal interview, and that too only for 10-15 minutes, where he just asked them to sign off. So there was really never a relationship or a communication process.
Yeah, that is template driven. Organization demands that, and you go there, you fill up one more form and then go through this. I think it's unfair for that employee, because every employee has right to have a career in the organization if he or she performs it. I think it's important to do that. Yeah.
So true. And so therefore, connection and communication from the manager's side should be ongoing and not just during appraisal.
And I am the firm believer of continuous appraisals, right? It's not the year-end appraisal. It's a continuous appraisal. I'm the firm believer of that. Yeah.
How nice. So from the team member's point of view, what are some things that a team member can do to prepare for her or his appraisal?
Yeah. So I would say that, again, these are all my top 3 take. Prepare yourself with the data against each goal planned in the year beginning, right? I think that data should speak. And the second thing is be a neutral and active listener, right? And when we are attaching ourselves and then start looking at this, and then we are getting into the defending mode. Rather, I would say that if you are a neutral and active listener, it will help you to improve or correct the future. I think that's something that we should be open enough. And share your point of view fearlessly, because I've come across some people, who have so much of emotions, but they just don't express them through right words, right? So share your point of view fearlessly without offending managers. I think it's very important to carry out. These are all my top 3 takes for those reports. Yeah.
What a nice balance you have drawn in this last point, that you share your viewpoint fearlessly, but without offense. And of course, this becomes so much easier if, like you said, the process of continuous appraisal is followed and not just once every 6 months and 1 year. Now, having done this, there are likely to be times when the appraisal interview does not go well for both parties.
Yeah.
Some thoughts there. How can we deal with that?
Yeah. So, we are all humans, right? And if we recognize that, then probably I would say that first, apology mode is the great engager in such situations, right? Whether it is a manager or whether it is a subordinate, right? And if manager does it, it adds grace, right? Remember, both manager and reports have their choices of, either sacking or resignation, right? And I'm sure both of them agree that it is their last option, right? Then, so apology and then get into the engagement. Then engagement is the great leveler, right? The second point is focus on issue and not on person. Right? If you want to cut across a point, right? Whenever we are discussing the difficult situations, and it will then help both of them to correct, right? And the third, naturally, the old age wisdom, be transparent. Give concrete examples of data from the industry or equivalent to substantiate their views. I think that will help them to bring back whatever is the difficult situations that they are undergoing. Yeah.
Something you have said which is very important, which I want to repeat. And you said, when talking about apologies, you said that if the manager does it, it adds grace. What a powerful statement that is, that it adds grace, not only to the manager, to the subordinate, I think to the entire process and to the relationship.
Yeah.
So now this is obviously a time when appraisal process is coming close for so many companies. So some thoughts of advice or tips to managers who are who are preparing to conduct the appraisal interview?
Yeah, so I would say that be courteous and calm inside, right? And if you are not in that frame of mind, I would recommend you postpone the interview, because that is going to spoil both of you, right? And have a vision of correlating overall company's need and individual goal alignment, and explain it to the team members, right? I think this continuity is very, very essential. And always, approach empirically with the data. I think that should help them to go through this. These are all broader. Each topic can be discussed for 30 minutes, but I thought these are all some tips that they should think of. Yeah.
So true. Approaching it empirically with data, adding on the layer of being courteous and having grace in the process would make it such a different experience that the manager is creating for his team members.
Yeah.
And any tips and advice for the team members who are preparing to experience the appraisal interview process?
Yeah, I think remember, the appraisal is the discussion of your past performance, right? And where you can do nothing about it now, right? And hence take this opportunity to improve further. That's the first and foremost, right? We are talking about something like a post-mortem type of thing, right? And the second one is be an active listener and take notes, key notes for your future reference, right? Don't try to act before him, because people understand who is fake and who is real. And if there are some aspects that you are really want to correct yourself, take a note. I think that will help. And let your data speak for you rather than your own opinion, right? Many times I may think that I'm so and so great, so and so, etc., but in reality it may be different. So allow your data to speak for you is what I would think of as a tips to the person who is going for an appraisal interview. Yeah.
So true. And the data, of course, makes sense if, like, one of the first steps is if the goals and the objectives have been defined,
that is why that
then
is very
it's easier
essential.
to track the data. So true.
Yeah.
So as we bring our conversation to a close, some wisdom or learning from your own experience that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I think let us make it little relaxed here. Yeah? Appraisal is not end of life, right? Give importance only to that extent of self-improvement. I think that's something we need to be mature enough to look at. Annual appraisal is only the culmination of many activities, right? Ensure constant feedback mechanism and encourage continuous result-oriented appraisals, right? Don't wait for year-end to communicate. And I want to say this bell curve is becoming a villain in this whole process, right? And if bell curve is the method emotionally affecting people, then leave that. I don't think that we should be looking at, but have a mechanism of distinguishing chalk and cheese. I think it's very essential, right? A high performer and a mediocre performer has to have this. If bell curve is not the method, okay, just drop it, right? And I want to step back and then communicate this message during the COVID, right? Due to COVID-like situation, there are many stories that we are hearing. Yesterday, I heard that I think 6 million people have lost their jobs, right? So on and so forth. We are in such a traumatic situations. There were many no pay increase, right? And this is a reality, right, for many organizations. But take this opportunity to discuss appraisal and career, genuinely. I think this is very important, right? Appraisal is not about only the performance, right? It's also about the career of it. Remember, money is important. I'll be fooling if we say that money is not important. It is important, no doubt. But there are many other equally important elements are there. Like, for example, you have a great opportunity exposure, career building, personality development, experience enrichment, etc. Right? And I also want to conclude this with one more thing. This is the best period for innovative ideas, right? The overall environment is not great. And if you look back the history after Spanish flu, during Great Depressions, probably 1930, something similar to this, the alternative deployment of innovation was very high, okay? For example, even car craft today, whatever we are doing today, are the outcome of those alternative deployment. Originally, it was meant for military related things, right? Hence, managers should think of adding this element of innovation in their goal setting I think that will help to overcome the current situation. These are all some of the top points which is coming in my mind. I thought I will share that with you, Ajay.
So true. And important for us to realize on your closing note that appraisal is not the end of life, and more than just money, we should also have a holistic view to
Yes.
our career management.
Yeah,
So
and
Balaji,
innovation is the key. And
innovation is the key, especially during this time.
Yeah.
So thank you, Balaji. I think you have given us lots of hard-hitting tips, hard-hitting wisdom in a very straightforward and concise way. And I'm trusting that it will be an excellent primer and it will be an excellent way to revise for whether we are conducting an appraisal interview or attending one, for us to really sharpen our game. So once again, Balaji, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you share your wisdom with our listeners.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajay, for providing this opportunity. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.